Okay, so this is our second unit and today's our last lecture of second unit. So in last point of the second unit ka, so we're going to see that open source hardware. We know that about open source, free source, right? Software. So this is a open source hardware here. Open source hardware is called as a open hardware. It's also called as a open hardware. Okay, like this we can write. Okay, from design information, electronic or computer hardware can be built that could be copyright or license, but has instead been made available for public uses at no change. In this information, documentation, diagram, construction details, logic design, and parts lists are included. Open source can be applied on any information that grant to the people for modify, build or update specific hardware such as personal computer, telecommunication, also computer peripherals. Okay, so means what? You know very well about open source, right? So we are using yeah, we can use, you know how we can use any software, open source, free source. So we know about the information of open source, right? कैसे हम if freely available होगा तो how we can use it this software and we can develop whatever we want, right? हम लोग कोई सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलप कर सकते हैं, इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं. सो हमने अब तक ओपन सोर्स देखा था ये इस बारे में, लेकिन लाइक दिस ओनली ओपन सोर्स हार्डवेयर हियर. मतलब यहाँ पे कैसा है कि ओपन सोर्स ये आपका पर्सनल कंप्यूटर हो सकता है, टेलीकम्युनिकेशन आल्सो कंप्यूटर. ओके, मतलब जो हार्डवेयर, यू नो वेरी वेल हार्डवेयर मीन्स व्हाट, राइट? सो जिस पर्सन अभी आप वी आर यूजिंग मतलब डिजाइनिंग पर्पस करते हो, राइट? कुछ डिजाइन बनाते हो, वो ऑफकोर्स सॉफ्टवेयर थ्रू ही बनाओगे, लेकिन फॉर उसके लिए आपको एक हार्डवेयर लगेगा, लाइक माउस इज योर हार्डवेयर, योर कीबोर्ड्स. ओके, जो भी आप डिजाइन बनाओगे तो यू रिक्वायर योर माउस या कीपैड, दैट इज या योर कंप्यूटर, दिस आर योर हार्डवेयर. सो हियर एंड यू कैन इजीली use it, right? So in hardware engine, for design of hardware, some specialization software are available. To use that, software is called hardware description language. अब जो SDL एक software है, मतलब जो कि you can use it. Okay, means hardware engine में you can use the software also there for this, like SDL software you can use. When SDL programs are freely available for use, then that program considered to open source hardware. मीन्स अभी ओपन सोर्स हार्डवेयर मीन्स एक एसडीएल बोल के आपको सॉफ्टवेयर होगा. ओके, और जब वो एसडीएल सॉफ्टवेयर मीन्स यू नो वेरी वेल हार्डवेयर मीन्स व्हाट, राइट? बट जब वो आप एसडीएल सॉफ्टवेयर ये इजीली फ्रीली अवेलेबल होगा आपको यूज करने के लिए, दैट मीन्स इट्स योर ओपन सोर्स हार्डवेयर. ओके, एंड देन द एसडीएल सॉफ्टवेयर ये आपको डिजाइनिंग पर्पस के लिए होगा, राइट? सो ये देखो, SDL means in computer engineering a hardware description language. SDL means hardware description language. Okay, SDL, that is hardware language. Okay, so it's a specialized computer language. Okay, this SDL is a specialized computer language used to describe the structure and behavior of electronic circuits and most commonly digital logical circuits. So ये जो SDL है ये हार्डवेयर डिस्क्रिप्शन लैंग्वेज है. अभी यू नो वेरी वेल हमने सीओ कंप्यूटर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में सर्किट स्टडी किया है, राइट? लाइक एंड गेट और गेट, राइट? डिजिटल सर्किट्स वी हैव स्टडी. You know very well how we can design it with the through mouse we can drag and drop our particular circuit and get, I mean particular gates, right? It is freely we have to just so download the Logicium software, and with the help of this software we have seen the practical of this, right? हम लोगों ने practical भी देखा है कि कैसे हम लोग SDL circuit से sorry कैसे AND gate nor any gate we how we can draw विद द एक कैनवा होगा, उसमें हम लोग कैसे ड्रॉ कर सकते हैं, वी हैव सीन. सो वो फ्रीली अवेलेबल, यू नो नीड टू पे दिस, राइट. So this is a come in SDL. So I hope कि SDL hardware description language you आपको समझा होगा. Okay. When SDL programs are freely available for use, then that program considered to be open source hardware. जो program हमें freely use करने को available है, that's called ओके. सो अभी हमने क्या कहा था, जो वॉट एवर सर्किट जो भी हम लोगों को हम इजीली फ्रीली अवेलेबल यूज है, दैट्स कॉल्ड एसडीएल. ओके. सो एसडीएल प्रोग्राम आर कॉपीराइट जस्ट लाइक अदर टाइप ऑफ सॉफ्टवेयर. ओपन हार्डवेयर is means open hardware. Okay, open hardware is a set of design principle and legal practice, not a specific type of object. Okay, open hardware. So SDL program can copyright just like other type of software, but here open hardware is a set of design principles and legal practices, not a specific type of object. The term can be referred to any number of objects like automobile, computer, robots, and even houses. Okay, in open source hardware, blueprints, logic design, then computer, hmm, then files are available for modification under license. It provides as many people as possible the ability to construct, remix, and share their knowledge of hardware, design, and function. First hardware focus open source. The first hardware ये focus हुआ open source. Okay, अभी you know very well now open source hardware, right? So for okay, so open source ये hardware का open source hardware. I said now what is the open source hardware, right? And SGL is come in this hardware section only, right? So this first hardware focus open source activities were started around 1997 by the open source hardware associated at org purpose open source hardware and act as a hub of open source hardware activity. It is focused on it started in 1997. Okay, the following are open source hardware license. The open source hardware is tap see, this is the license of open source hardware. This is the one of the license of open source hardware. Okay, then balloon open hardware license. Then another is the balloon one. Balloon. 1 minute. This is the another one is open source hardware. Then hardware design public license. Okay, hardware design public license. Hardware design public license. Public license. License. Okay. Then okay. OHLI open hardware license. Okay. One of the most popular type of open source hardware is nothing but electronic. Okay, the open source license सबसे important है electronic का. Okay, many companies that are provided large number of electronics like एड फ्रूट्स. अभी आपको बताती हूँ एड फ्रूट्स से क्या होता है. मतलब जो ओपन सोर्स हार्डवेयर है ये एक आपको मेनी कंपनीज यूज करती है. अभी मैंने आपको ओपन सोर्स हार्डवेयर बताया जैसे कि open source hardware means I said that about your computer and all, but अगर किसी कंपनी को वर्क करना है, okay, जैसे कि Adafruit, let me show you a minute. See, अब गूगल में से आपको मैं open source hardware का एग्जांपल दिखाती हूँ. See, ओके सी दिस इज अ हार्डवेयर, ओके इट्स कॉल्ड आर्डिनो, और ये जो हमें आईओटी सेक्शन में है सेकेंड ईयर को, सो ये हार्डवेयर है. यू नो वेरी वेल हार्डवेयर एंड सॉफ्टवेयर मीन्स व्हाट. इफ यू डोंट नो देन आल्सो लिसन. सॉफ्टवेयर मीन्स जो भी चीज कंप्यूटर के अंदर होती है, मतलब जैसे कि आप जो कंप्यूटर के इनबिल्ट होती है या कंप्यूटर के जो सॉफ्टवेयर्स होते हैं लाइक माइक्रोसॉफ्ट या वॉट एवर, जो भी सॉफ्टवेयर आप लोग यूज करते हो, टर्बोसी या प्रैक्टिकल के लिए जो सॉफ्टवेयर यूज करते हो, वो सब सॉफ्टवेयर पार्ट में आता है. ओके, और जो हार्डवेयर लाइक माउस कीबोर्ड दिस ऑल, मतलब जो हम लोग टचेबल है उसको हम हार्डवेयर बोलते हैं, राइट. आई नो मोस्टली पीपल को पता होगा, लेकिन मोस्टली स्टूडेंट्स कंफ्यूज रहते हैं हार्डवेयर एंड सॉफ्टवेयर में. व्हाट इज द मीन ऑफ सॉफ्टवेयर एंड हार्डवेयर. सो ओपन सोर्स हार्डवेयर, अभी सी दिस इज द वन ऑफ द हार्डवेयर जो कि मेनी कंपनीज यूज करती है. सी दिस इज कॉल्ड आर्डिनो एंड एडफ्रूट हम बोलते हैं इसको. अभी आर्डिनो क्या वर्क करता है इसमें, जस्ट ये एक कंपनी एक प्रोजेक्ट के लिए, जैसे कि हमारी आईओटी में है, आपको हमारे होम्स की लाइट कैसे ऑन ऑफ हो सकती है विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस आर्डिनो प्रोजेक्ट, या सॉइल जैसे कि यू नो वेरी वेल रोबोट्स हाउ वर्क्स रोबोट्स, या कोई प्रोग्राम करना है हमें, राइट, या हम लोग घर के बाहर जा रहे हैं हमारी लाइट ऑफ हो जाए, तो आर्डिनो से हम लोग कनेक्शन देते हैं कोडिंग, और ये इसमें हम लोग कनेक्शन देंगे इस आर्डिनो में, इस हार्डवेयर में, और विद कंपोनेंट्स, और ये वो सारे हार्डवेयर पार्ट है, बिकॉज वी कैन टच इट एंड वी कैन सी. यहाँ पे कनेक्शन आपको दिख रहा है, ये पिंस होते हैं, जो ग्रीन एरो आपको दिख रही है इसमें, राइट, दिस वन ग्रीन एरो, राइट. ओके सी टी फॉर ग्राउंड वोल्टेज. सो ये पार्ट नहीं है आपको इस अभी एफ में, जस्ट आई एम शोइंग यू द ओपन सोर्स हार्ड एक्चुअल में हार्डवेयर कैसे होता है. मतलब अभी मैंने यहाँ पे मेंशन किया दैट मेनी कंपनीज दैट आर प्रोवाइडेड लार्ज नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक, लाइक अभी ये इलेक्ट्रॉनिक पार्ट है बिकॉज इसको एलईडी ऑन ऑफ करना हो हम लोगों को एग्जाम्पल, सो वी रिक्वायर रास्पबेरी पाई, इट्स लाइक आर्डिनो ओनली एट थ्रू. सो उसके लिए हमें जस्ट हार्डवेयर में कनेक्शन देना होगा विद द हेल्प ऑफ जंपर वायर्स, देन वी कैन सी एलईडी विल ऑन और ऑफ, राइट. सो इस टाइप के कुछ हार्डवेयर होते हैं. ओके ओके, सो यहाँ पे ओपन सोर्स डिजाइन, सो दिस इज अ पार्ट ऑफ ओपन सोर्स हार्डवेयर वी हैव सीन हियर. नाउ ओपन सोर्स डिजाइन, नेक्स्ट इज अ open source design. Okay, now this is another part, open source design. Okay, next let's see this. So open source design provide list job resource, even that present talk target at the developers and design instead of in designing and working in the open source. Open source design are community of the designer and developers who pushing more open source. Okay, they're pushing more open design process and also improving the experience and design of open source software. Open source design is the development of physical products, system, and machines. Complete use of publicly shared design information. Open source design involves the free and open source software, FOSS, as well as open source hardware. So open source design tool. Open source design tools are design tools, but that's about to change. Open source design tools are free for anyone and everyone to use it. When the people think about tools like these, few tools come to in mind. In most popular tools, the Blender is the first open source design tools on the list. List number of tools are Blender, then Font Forage, Open SCAD, then Qvio, 3D Slicer, Pencils, Soya 3D, Draw, OpenBix. Okay, these types of tools are there. Just we know the list of open source tools. Okay, so open source teaching is a approach where the people can produce share, means open source teaching here. It's what is a approach where the people can produce, share, and build on knowledge, which will be beneficial to other, right? Sharing is one of the most important characteristic of education. It can it can be achieved by implementation by various methodology as follow: e-learning, then virtual learning environment. We can use the virtual learning environment like Mood, Moodle can be used by different instruction. Online lecture, that this type of open source teaching here, open source design means whatever you can use is the field that is in open source design. Then next is the open source teaching here. So open source teaching में virtual licensing environments there. Then here open source teaching we can see, just 1 minute. Okay. Okay, so here online lecture. This type of open source teaching can be used when several users wants to involve in a session via the web. It can contain different audio and video session. Also, textual chat can be used. Here, one user can also share his her ideas with others. Now, see. We know अभी open source software and open source uh, teaching. Now you know very well, you are familiar with Zoom app, right? We are there here with the through Zoom app. So teaching is very जैसे कि अभी audio video form में I'm teaching you lecture. You can ask me any question, right? And so this is a way of open source design teaching lectures. Okay, then interactive count creation. Many online toolkit can be used to create interactive training materials. These contents can also be created locally. Ebook authoring, using LibreOffice for word processing and drawing programs that can be used for simple publishing. These documents can be saved in PDF format. Means listen, अब open source teaching में क्या है, e-learning है, right? Then virtual licensing environment है, online lecture, जैसे you know very well familiar with online lectures, right? ये points है आपके open source teaching में, okay? Then interactive content creation है, जिसमें कि many online toolkit can be used to create interactive ट्रेनिंग मटेरियल्स, मतलब आपका ट्रेनिंग मटेरियल्स को इंटरेक्टिव करने के लिए इस बहुत सी टूल्स किट अवेलेबल होती है. ओके, दिस कंटेंट कैन बी आल्सो क्रिएटेड लोकली. देन ई बुक मीन्स जैसे कि आप पीडीएफ बुक्स ले सकते हो. देन विद द हेल्प ऑफ योर पीडीएफ एनी रेफरेंस बुक यू कैन स्टडी बाय योरसेल्फ, दैट इज ई बुक. ओके, देन क्लासरूम टूल्स. अभी दिस इज योर ओपन सोर्स टीचिंग्स में पॉइंट्स है. ओके, and then classroom tools में क्या होगा, interactive whiteboard software, you know very well, right? Means कैसे whiteboard, so we were studying about through whiteboard, right? Blackboard, whiteboard, right? So here what, in whiteboard software, a free and open source interactive whiteboard software with any projector and pointing device named as Open Snapcore provides an interactive interface for whiteboards, touch table. Okay, it support whiteboard style drawing. Also, it allow the insert document and media. Classroom management. The remote control computer can be used to provide support in classroom management. A teacher can view student screen in overview mode and they can be broadcast at all workstation. जैसे कि अभी if when I'm taking your lecture या अभी एक टेस्ट अगर हम लोग लेने वाले, then we are able to see you all, right? तुम अपने कैमरा ओपन करोगे you all, then we can able to see you. Then mobile solution, mobile apps for students. A variety of mobile devices are support through single web interface using feature detection. Data can be retrieved from the range of sources. Then management information system. The different module and web-based system can be used to manage information of students. So these are the open source teaching here. How student can use it, teacher can teach it, right? Then open source media now. Now is a open source media. Okay, let's see. Open source media framework means open source media framework. Okay, so here framework. So in bracket OP, sorry, OSMF. Okay, open source media software. तो आपको एग्जाम में आ सकता है कि what is the OSMF? So in multiple choice में, so you have to write open source media framework. Okay, is a free open source development framework for building video experience on the web and desktop. OSMF is a pure what base framework and is created by Adobe System. Okay, ये एक Adobe System से create की गई है. Okay, और ये is a pure action scripts 3.0 based framework. Okay, OSMF is a design for content publisher. Okay, developers and Adobe Flash platform ecosystem patterns. Anyone who is incorporating videos on their website. OSMF simplify developed by providing out-of-the-box support for multiple media types, including video, audio, image, and SWF files. The extension plugin architecture enables additional features from third-party services such as advertising, then rendering, tracking, reporting for all analytic and content delivery network authentication. OSMF support RTMP and HTTP stream, progressing download, sequential and parallel composition of video and other media and layout in a outside the video place. वो open source media framework. अभी जैसे कि मैंने अजी रिवर शॉपिंग ऐप और वेबसाइट होती है जिसमें हम लोगों को if you want to see the images, videos, audio, whatever. So with the help of the OSF is support to show these pictures. Okay, if you suppose आपने कहीं online shopping की, if you find your track मतलब ट्रैक आईडी आपको देखना है या आपको कुरियर कहाँ तक आया उसका ट्रैक देखना है, सो इजीली यू कैन गो टू योर एनी सॉफ्टवेयर ऐप लाइक Amazon एंड एनी, यू कैन see your track ID and आपका मटेरियल कहाँ तक पहुंचा, you can able to see. This all are happen with the through open source OSMF. Okay, so ये एक support करता है HTTP को भी. Okay, open source media, the media front platform is an open source front end media framework. Okay, the media framework for the web through its integration with popular content management system. It employs an innovative and initiative interface that allows any website admission to completely customize the front end media experience for their user without writing the code. Okay, any code. So here media experience for their user without writing any code. The media, I said, it employs an innovation, any interface, allow any website administrator to complete customize their font. Okay. In addition, this platform offer a revolution open source media player that can be used free of charge on any website. The open source media player is an open source all-in one media player capable of playing HTML5, YouTube video, and any SDN media. Means open source media player ये जो आप YouTube देखते हो and any players देखते हो, it's done with the help of open standard media. Okay. Now we know about GitHub. We have studied about GitHub. I have show you in practical also GitHub, right? The activities gives of how we can directly interact with other developers who are looking for advice about various changes or new ideas to solve problem. Here the issue page works like, but it has also Twitter features and allows you to mention people by using string. When you write nickname, GitHub will send you email to the user and he will be able to read your question, suggestion, extra. Therefore, important goal of this task is to interact with other participant of their challenge or developers from GitHub community to complete the task, paste and link where you have posted the messages. So we have studied about GitHub. We have seen the practical how we can open the account through GitHub and we can upload our project, our file. If we want, we can achieve, we can take it, right? So it's again repeat here, so I'm taking this point. Now, rules of official communication. The corporate communication has taken a direct decidedly cautious turn and navigating the ins and outs of testing instance messaging and collaboration. Writing, especially in the corporate world, used to be formed. There are intent message and there means describe communication and communication. So you know very well for hard copy letters or even matlab how we can communicate, you know very well, through mail, then through letters. If you want to communicate through software, then we are using WhatsApp. This is done by software, right? Then email we can send it, and if we do the mail communication by hardware, then we can use letter. Through letter we can communicate, okay, post through postman. So this are the point of communication. The medium to message, the first means these are always okay. So what is the communication? Communication is one of the most important human acts, you know. As with any human acts, there are exceptions for communication. People who don't meet the expectations will find difficulties in their professional and personal lives. Some of communication areas where of uh, rules are included, sorry, acknowledgement communication. When someone communicates with you, responds in way that indicates you heard the message and will act appropriately. In some cases, the response will simply be thank you. Then provide follow on previous communication. When you have and communication, there is an expectation of something done. You take the action as communicate. The remaining thing to done is communication what has been done. Be respectful in all communication. There is a never time when you should be dis, disrespectful of those you communicate with, even if you are responding to communication that were respect to you. Communication information to those who need the information. Whenever you obtain information that is generally not known by others, provide people with this information. The key is to think of who needs to know the information and what parts of the information will be useful to those people. Communication through the appropriate media through sensitive issues should be communicated in personal information. That is primary factual, can communicate electronic. Communication channel. You should relay communication directly those about your function. Means how we can communicate. We can communicate through this app, right? You can ask any question. I can reply it. I'm teaching you. This is our communication way, right? So communication may बहुत से points होते हैं response request, how you communicate to particular person, right? So these are the points which we have seen here. Okay. So today's lecture over here. Thank you.